Are you ready to be blessed today? Let's pray our novena to God's love. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Everybody say, today I receive all of God's love for me. Today I open myself to the unbounded, limitless, overflowing abundance of God's universe. Today I open myself to your blessings, healing, and miracles. Today I open myself to God's Word so that I become more like Jesus every day. Today I proclaim that I'm God's beloved. I'm God's powerful champion. I'm God's powerful champion. And because I am blessed, I will bless the world in Jesus' name. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. We're going to read from Matthew chapter 7, verse 7 to 11. Everybody say this. Ask, and it will be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and the door will be opened to you. For everyone who asks receives. He who seeks finds. And to him who knocks, the door will be opened. Which of you, if his son asks for bread, will give him a stone? Or if he asks for a fish, will give him a snake? If you then, though you are evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father in heaven give good gifts to those who ask him? Everybody say, good gifts. And Psalms 35 verse 27, let's read together. Let the Lord be magnified, who has pleasure in the prosperity of his servant. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. Place both hands over your chest and everybody say, Father, it is so good that I am here to experience your goodness. I receive today the goodness of the Lord. And I thank you that you will bless me more and more. In Jesus' name. Amen. If you believe that God has answered that prayer, give him a big hand and love him and praise him. Hallelujah. Praise God. Praise God. Praise God. Are you ready? Can I begin with a joke? No violent objection? There was this couple, husband and wife. The husband was really not feeling very well, was really getting sick. And he goes to the doctor. And, the doctor goes through these tests, with the guy, with the husband. And, after all the tests, the doctor was reading the results. He says to the woman, to the wife, can I talk to you privately without your husband? So the husband walks out of the clinic. He closes the door and tells the wife, you know what? Your husband is in grave danger. He's really sick. But you know what? It's all because of stress. You want your husband to get well? Because if you're not going to do this, he's going to die. But this is what you do. You stop giving him stress. Don't fight him. Don't nag him. Treat him like a king. Every day, breakfast in bed. Massage every day. Treat him, pamper him, spoil him. And after 1 year, he's going to get well. He really will get well. The wife says, thank you, doc, closes the door, goes out of the clinic. The husband is all anxious, all worried. What did the doctor say? What did the doctor say? What do I have? And the wife said, you're going to die. There's no hope for you anymore. You know why the wife was not willing to change? Ask me why. Because she had not yet found an emotional why. Say that with me, emotional why. Listen to me very carefully. You can change anything in your life. You really can. Any kind of addiction, any kind of bad habit, any area of your life that you want to change, you can change right now. God has given you that power. Now, one reason, everybody say that, one reason. It's not the only reason. That's why we're giving 9 talks, for this series. But I'm going to give you one reason why you cannot achieve your dreams, why people do not achieve their goals. I'm going to give you one reason. Ask me, what's that one reason? You have not found your emotional why. I'm going to tell you that this is a fact of human life, that we make our decisions based on our emotions, not based on logic. This is a fact of life. You and I make our decisions based on emotions, not on logic. But what happens is that when you make your decision based on emotions, later on, you justify that decision based on logic. You kind of like explain and say, oh, I made that decision because of logic number 1 and logic number 2 and logic number 3. But actually, initially, say initially. Initially, you made that decision not based on logic, but based on emotions. I'm going to give you an example. I met this guy, he's a smoker. His name is Ricky. And he tells me, Brother Bo, I can't stop smoking. I really cannot stop smoking. I mean, I've tried so many times. My gosh, I can't stop smoking. So I tell Ricky, do you have a daughter? Yeah, 3 years old. Okay, what's her name? Susie. Susie, that's good. Ricky, I'm going to ask you this question. I want you to imagine that there's this guy who points a cold barrel of a .45 caliber pistol right on the head of Susie. And this guy tells you, if you won't quit smoking, I'm going to shoot your daughter, Susie, and blow her brains out. Ricky, ask you this question. Will you stop smoking? Yes. Yes. You know the reason why we don't change? It's because we have not found a powerful emotional why. If you have a big why in your life, a big emotional reason, you can change anything. Believe me. Let's apply this to our topic for the day. Money. Let's say, can you imagine this? You're earning 10,000 pesos a month. Let's just imagine. Can you imagine that? Okay, you're earning 10,000 pesos a month. One day you discover your daughter is sick. You bring your daughter to the doctor, and the doctor says, after all the tests, your daughter is going to die unless she takes this one medicine worth 50,000 pesos a month. Can I ask you one question? Can I? Will you do everything possible to earn 50,000 pesos a month? You better believe it. You're going to cross all rivers. You're going to climb all mountains. You will do anything and everything. Why? Because you have a big, what? Emotional why. Another word, another term for emotional why is hunger. Everybody say that. Hunger. Ask someone beside you, what's your hunger? If you don't have a hunger behind your goal, behind your dream, it won't work. A dream without an emotional why, without a hunger, will have no legs, and it will not be able to stand, and you will not be able to achieve it. There was this one, I was talking with a very wealthy man, and he was telling me, Brother Bo, I came from a poor family. I came from not a very poor family, but poor enough. And I've gone through difficulty and not having enough money. Now I'm a wealthy man because of hard work and because of determination. I'm a wealthy man. I'm now worried for my children because my children, they had everything in life. And I look at them and I say, they do not have the hunger. They do not have the hunger that I had. Are you familiar with this? That a wealthy man would leave his wealth to his children, and the children may probably maintain it, but they won't be able to expand it. And then little by little the wealth decreases. And then when it's time for the grandchildren to take over, the grandchildren will just spend it all because they do not have the hunger. Parents, raise your hand. Listen to me. You've got kids? You want to take care of them? You want to give the best to them? Listen to me. Do not rob them of hunger. Don't do that. You've got to allow them to go through the hunger. You've got to allow them to go through what you experienced in some form, in some way. We're going to explain more of that at the last talk of this series. But just want to say that find a way for your children to still have the hunger that you had when you were growing up and when you were building your wealth. Let me say it again. Emotional why, another word is hunger. Another word is desire. Say that with me, desire. In Latin, desire is desidere, and it literally means from the stars. Everybody say that, desire. I want you to know, let me go spiritual here. I believe that some of us can use our deepest desire. Say that with me, deepest desire. I really believe this, that God has planted within you and me our deepest desire. Take the scalpel of discernment, strip away layer upon layer of your shallow desires until you touch base with your deepest desire, because that is divine. That is God-given. When God created you, He created you with your deepest desire. And you know what? You could use that as your emotional why for being able to reach your dreams and reach your goals, and even in your finances. I'm going to explain that in a while. But right now, what I want to share with you is my journey. Can I share personally now? Why did I change my financial life? I will share with you 3 reasons. 3 of my emotional whys. The first one, I'm going to share with you, the first emotional why for me, for changing my financial life, is related to 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 8. Let's read together. If anyone does not provide for his relatives, and especially for his immediate family, he has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. My first emotional why for changing my financial life was when I got married. You see, at the age of 30, I was still broke. I was still totally, completely broke. I was a single missionary all my life, and I did not think about money. But then at the age of 32, I got married. And all of a sudden, everything changed. I began to have an emotional why. And you know what? For many of you, you can relate with this, right? Can you? For the moment you got married, all of a sudden, wow! Like when I was still single as a missionary, I remember I was counting my money. And then a friend of mine came and he said, "Is that your savings?" Because he saw it was very little, a thin wad of paper bills. And I said, "No, this is not my savings. This is my entire financial worth. This is all that I own and all that I have." And he said, "My gosh, missionaries don't get paid, huh?" No, they don't. That was me. And I wasn't bothered one bit because I was single. But you know what? It was okay for me to get hungry. That was okay. But you know what? I could not face the fact that when I had kids, that they would get hungry too. I could not face it. It was such a pain within me. I said, I can't live the way I'm living now. I have to change. It was a very strong emotional why. Are you getting me? When I was still single as a missionary, I really told this to myself. I said, I don't care if later on in my old age, I will live in the sidewalk. It's really true. I was living in the slum area. I was doing ministry work among the poor. I said, I don't care. But when I got married at the age of 32, I realized, wait a minute, I can't go to my wife and my kids and say, let's now sleep in the sidewalk. I could not do that. My second reason, my second emotional why for changing my financial life is related to Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verse 19. Let's read together. Moreover, when God gives any man wealth and possessions and enables him to enjoy them, everybody say that, enjoy them, to accept his lot and be happy in his work, this is a gift of God. When I was still single as a missionary and I get hungry, I told this already to you before, I would enter a little fast food joint, let's say Jollibee, and I'd get my wallet. I really would. And then what I'd do is I'd count my money before entering the fast food, the restaurant. And sometimes, I still remember this, I'd have to count my coins to be certain that I have something to pay. And believe you me, brothers and sisters, there were times I closed my wallet and walked away because I had no money. Now that was frustrating for me. I'm going to give you the anatomy of an emotional why. There really are 2 parts. How many? There are 2 parts of hunger or an emotional why. The two parts is this. Number one, frustration. Say that with me. The second part is fantasy. Okay. So there I was. I'm just the thought. I had a fantasy. The fantasy of sitting in a restaurant. This is me. By the way, my emotional why may be different from your emotional why. We're different people, okay? But here was my fantasy. My fantasy was going into any restaurant, sitting down, reading a book, and maybe drinking a little Coke or that was me. I had a fantasy of being able to do that anytime I wanted to, and I couldn't. Let me tell you another story. When I had a girlfriend some years back, not my wife, I had 500 pesos in my wallet. And during that time, 500 pesos was much already for me. So I told my girlfriend, let's splurge. So I brought her to a fancy restaurant. Not too fancy, but okay. I mean, compared to a fast food. Sat down. The restaurant was known for crispy pata. And during that time, I was still eating meat. So I told the waiter, menu please. I had to find out how much it was. 150 pesos. Kayang-kaya. I had 500 pesos in my wallet. So we ordered crispy pata and 2 rice. Okay? 2 cups of rice. That's it. No drinks. So we ate. After eating, it was fun. It was really fun because it was the first time I was treating out my girlfriend, and with this nice white tablecloth and waiters with their bow ties. Really, I felt super happy. And then after eating, the waiter comes along with 2 green balls of sweet coconut. Makapuno. Oh, there's free dessert. Would you believe that? And so we ate. I got the bill. The bill comes. Horror upon horrors. More than 500 plus. I said, where does this come from? I was very embarrassed. I said, waiter, what's this bill? I thought it was, crispy pata, 150. He said, it's 100. His explanation, 150 pesos is 100 grams. The crispy pata was 300 grams. So it's 450. Now the dessert was 20 pesos each. What? I thought it was for free. No, you had to pay for it. And so plus the tax, it was over 500. I had to do the most embarrassing thing in the world. I told my girlfriend, do you have money? Now you know why she broke up with me, okay? After that, no, I'm just kidding. But basically, I could not even give a tip. I was so ashamed. I went out of that restaurant with my head bowed, and I told myself, walking out of that restaurant, so ashamed, I said, this will never happen to me again. Hunger, emotional why. This is such a silly reason. Really very silly. But you know what? I had a fantasy. Say fantasy. What's the anatomy of an emotional why? Frustration and fantasy. My fantasy was to go into any restaurant at any time and look at the menu, not looking at the prices anymore, but to order anything in that menu. That was my fantasy. And I so loved thinking about it. You want to change your financial life? Focus on the fantasy and start dreaming and start believing and start understanding. And then here's something else. I'm going to give you my third reason, my third emotional why for changing my financial life. It's related to 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 18. Together. Command them, the rich, to do good, to be rich in good deeds, and to be generous and willing to share. Here's my third emotional why. Being in ministry, growing up serving the Lord, I was confronted by the needs of people, sometimes by the very real needs of people. And these are my friends. And sometimes they have this little need for their child, tuition or whatever. And I had this desire to help them. I wanted to pull out my wallet and give something to them. I could not because I had nothing to give them. Is that your experience? Do you have that same frustration? It was such a frustration. I had a fantasy. I had another frustration, by the way. You know what my frustration was? Here I was with my team of leaders, and I'd say, I have a new ministry idea. I have a new ministry project. Let's do something together. I give them the project. Everybody is excited. And then our accountant will say, Brother Bo, we don't have money for that project. Okay. And so we wait for a few months, we wait for a year, we wait for 2 years before the money comes. That was so frustrating for me. You know what my fantasy was? Ask me what? To be able to go to my team and to be able to say, I've got a ministry project, I've got a new ministry idea, and then I'll explain the project to them. And then when my accountant will say, Brother Bo, we don't have money for that new project, I will say, this is my fantasy. I'll bring out my checkbook and say, and I'm going to finance the first 6 months. That was my fantasy. I love that fantasy. I dreamt of it every day. No, maybe that's an exaggeration. Every other day. I really love that fantasy. You know what? It's coming true right now. It really is. It really, and I have so much fun. Was it just a few weeks ago, Ray Ortega is the head of our scholarship program for poor children, and he emailed me and he said, Brother Bo, there are 5 new kids that we need to send to school and there's no more money. Will you fund this? Will you finance this? Without even thinking. I had 2 minutes to think. I said, okay, press the enter key. Loved it. Loved it. Just the idea of being able to say, God has blessed me so much. It's that my fantasy is coming true. And I'm going to ask you this one question, brothers and sisters. What is your emotional why? If you don't have an emotional why, if you don't have a hunger, then it won't happen. In fact, I'm going to share with you one last thing. May I? It's called recalibrating your level of possibility, okay? And recalibrating your level of acceptance. Let me say that again. Recalibrate what you think is possible, okay? And then recalibrate what you're willing to accept. I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to change his name. I'm also going to change the amounts involved. I'm going to shrink it so that you'll understand. There's this guy, let's call him Jimmy. He comes up to me and let's say he's earning, I'm not going to give you the real amount, but it's something like this. He's earning 10,000 pesos a month. He comes up to me and he says, Brother Bo, I'm financially hard up, your budget is tight and I really want to increase my income and what should I do? And so I asked him this one question. I said, how much do you want to earn? Now that was a new question for him. It's like, huh? Yeah, how much do you want to earn? And for a while he could not give me an answer. And so I told him and I encouraged him and I said, I want you to know that God has written a software, an operating system in all of God's creation. And this is what He has instructed all of creation to do, to listen to your instructions. You are going to tell God's creation, this is what I want to earn. Okay? And it's going to listen to you intently. And what God's creation will do is that it will give you all the resources that you need to reach that amount, whatever that amount is. Now, you better choose your figure well. And he said, okay, what's your question again? How much do you want to earn? God has given you the power to earn any amount that you put your mind into. And then he told me, is 100,000 pesos a month too much? Like he was so ashamed of the figure. And he said, it's up to you. If you think it's too much, then it's too much. But if you think it's just right, it is just right. So he said, okay, I will earn 100,000 pesos a month. I said, that's fine. Pray for it, write it down, pray for it every day. Okay. The next year, after 1 year, I met him again. I said, "Hi, Jimmy." And he was so happy. He was so happy. "Brother Bo, my gosh, I'm earning 20,000 pesos a month. Double what I was earning last year." He was so happy. He was a happy man. And so I said, "Congratulations. Keep it up. Don't give up. Don't give up." He said, "I won't give up. I won't give up. I'll keep on. I'll keep on." After another year, I meet him again. "How are you, Jimmy?" "Oh, okay, I'm okay, Brother Bo. I'm still earning 20,000 now, but you know, I'm not giving up." "Well, that's great, that's great." The following year, I meet him again. "Brother Bo, I think there's something wrong." "Why?" "I'm still earning 20,000 pesos. I mean, I know my goal is 100,000, but I don't know why I got stuck with 20,000. I knew. I really knew. You want to know why? Ask me why. I'll explain to you in a graph. There's Jimmy. Okay, happy smile, happy face. Now, one reason why you don't achieve your dream is this. Level of possibility. He believes that he can earn 100,000. He's praying about it. He's intending it. He's writing it down. But I ask him this one question. What do you want? What do you want? 100,000. What are you willing to accept? 20,000. What are you willing to settle for? 20,000. I'm going to share something to you that's very important. Are you listening? Everybody say, "I'm listening." Your level of acceptance is more powerful than your level of possibility. I'll say it again, just in case you didn't get that. Your level of acceptance is more powerful than your level of possibility. Ask me why. Because your emotional why, your hunger is attached, defines your level of acceptance. Meaning to say, from 10,000 pesos, Jimmy was earning 10,000 pesos and hungry. He was hungry. He was in pain. And he had a fantasy. When he reached 20,000, he was willing to settle at 20,000. Ask me why? Because his hunger was in that level. The moment he reached 20,000, he did not have any hunger anymore. His emotional why was satisfied. He had a goal of 100,000, but that 100,000 didn't have an emotional why, did not have a hunger. Are you listening to me? He did not have the passion. He did not have the drive. He accepted at 20,000. What should you do? Brother Bo, what should Jimmy do? If Jimmy wants to increase his income from 20,000 to 100,000, what should he do? He should create a very strong emotional why to reach 100,000. I have to ask Jimmy, why do you want to earn 100,000? You've got to tell me the reason why. And the reason must be so emotional. The reason must be pain, frustration, and a great fantasy that you will dream every single day of your life. And so we worked at it, and Jimmy said, I think I know now what to do. I've got to have a frustration that I'm not able to help people. Because at 20,000 pesos, I'm okay. I'm okay. But no, I want to increase my income so that I can help and I can bless and I can share and I can give. Are you listening to me? And then so I told him, you've got to dream. You've got to fantasize. Everybody say that word, fantasize. You know, fantasize is not a good word. I'm making it good now. I'm going to tell someone beside you, fantasize. Fantasize. Have a fantasy in your mind of what you really, really want to do. Brothers and sisters, again, I'm going to say this. Wealth is not money. Wealth is not property. Wealth is love. It's relationships. It's service. It's God. Money is merely a servant of your real wealth. Are you ready to change anything in your life? If you're a smoker, I want you to fantasize playing with your grandchildren, being strong enough and old enough, healthy enough to be able to play with your grandchildren. I mean, you can apply what I'm sharing to you now in any single area of your life. Are you excited? You don't look excited. Are you sure you're excited? That God has given you the power to achieve anything that you set your mind on? He just leaves it up to you. And you've got to make that decision. From someone who did not know anything about savings, I'm talking about me, from someone who did not know anything about investing, suddenly I had to learn. And I now know how to save 20% of my income. I know now how to invest. Brothers and sisters, that's a journey I want you to take. I want you to become wealthy in the real sense of the word, where your money serves the most important things in your life. Are you ready to fantasize with me? Are you sure? Here's the great thing, being Christians. We can pray and fantasize at the same time.